JSE-listed private schooling group Curro reported growth in revenue and profitability for the year, adding just over 1,000 learners compared to the previous year. However, primary school enrolments are still under pressure, and it had to impair the value of some of its underperforming schools. SABC News Markets presenter Nastassia Arendse spoke to the group CEO.
I think Curro did really advanced on our mission to expand quality education to more learners. I think, in operation, every child matters, and that really governs how we think and how we manage the operation. So we're really pleased with the growth in learners. We were delighted that for the first time in our history, we were able to generate more cash from our operations than what we invested in CapEx. And then as another element, we saw further improvement in our debtors book and in the sort of levels of collections, and we were able to improve the operating margin of our operations. So those were the aspects from a financial perspective that we were pleased with. And then, just reflecting on our core task, our primary focus, which is teaching, we were delighted with the matric results for the more than 4,000 learners that wrote both the IB or the National Senior Certificate exams. Last year, we achieved record pass rates of 99% in the IB and 96% in the National Senior Certificate. So I think, all in all, a good year for us, a year in which we demonstrated our resilience amidst what was still a very, very challenging and constrained consumer environment with many consumers struggling with high interest rates, high fuel costs, high food costs, and so on.
Let's unpack that cash generation. What's driving it, and how sustainable could it be in the environment that we're currently finding ourselves in?
I think if I give some context to that, Curro has been around for 25 years, so we have a lot of experience, and over that period have invested more than 13 billion rand to establish our operations and to build the schools that we have or acquire them. What that means is that we've really created the base for our operations, and we've reached a stage of our business cycle and model now where we have 72% of our seats filled in our schools and have capacity to accommodate many more learners, but don't necessarily need to invest that much in CapEx to create more classrooms and more facilities. So if you look at our CapEx program, 2 years ago, we invested 1.1 billion rand in the business. Last year would have been about 715 million, and our intention is to spend as much as 700 million in 2024. And that's at a moment where the cash that we generate from our operations is accelerating well ahead of that. So we think, and we're very confident that feature of our investment thesis will continue. So I think much potential available within our existing facilities.
Let's talk about the picture that you're seeing when it comes to learner growth here between the primary school and the high school. Give me some color here in terms of what's driving it and where are the pressure points?
We're still seeing excellent and high demand for learners in our high schools. So as a perspective, we have about 8,000 learners in grade 8 this year, with about 5,000 learners in grade 12. And so we would expect those learners to move through the system and into grade 12 over time. So strong demand at high school. I think in the primary and particularly the pre-primary space, I think that's probably the place where we can see the effect of this economy best, and the impact that it has on young families who are, in many instances, aspiring to be in our operations, to give their learners or their children the best possible start to their academic careers with early childhood development, but who are just battling to balance the books when it comes to the pressure of interest rates on their debt, the pressure of fuel costs and food and the rest. So we think, if you consider the prevailing environment, many retailers and other kind of consumer-facing operations have also shown some constraints and some challenges, and I don't think we unique in that regard, and we're seeing that most in younger families and the impact of the economy on them. We are, I think, confident though that reductions in interest rates, a lower interest rate environment should benefit these consumers in due course, and we look forward to serving them in our schools.
With that said, how are you thinking about fee increases, and how strict are you when it comes to fee collections?
Well, I think, it's probably one of the hardest things in our operation is to kind of terminate an account because somebody is not paying. It's really hard because every child matters for us, but at the same kind of basis, we cannot deliver a service for free. So we are strict about fee collections, unashamedly so, but it's hard. I think if we think about fee increases, our fees on an average kind of basis went up by about 8% in 2023 and by about 7% in 2024. So slightly ahead of inflation, but of course we're also dealing with the same effects as our consumers in terms of interest rates, and particularly the challenges around electricity and utility costs and so on. So that's a perspective perhaps on fee increases.